George H.W. Bush, before he was 25, could have written a book covering his World War II experiences, not to mention meeting Babe Ruth as captain of the Yale baseball team. But those were just the early chapters in an epic American story.
It was 2011 when President Barack Obama awarded George H.W. Bush the highest honor a civilian can receive, the Medal of Freedom.
I'm a man who sees life in terms of missions, missions defined, and missions completed.
Bush enlisted in the Navy on his 18th birthday, becoming the Navy's youngest fighter pilot during World War II. In 1944, his plane was shot down in the Pacific.
I knew that if something didn't pick me up, I would be captured.
He returned home a hero. Just weeks later, he married Barbara Pierce.
I think he's the wisest, smartest, most decent, caring person I know.
After his graduation from Yale in 1948, they moved to Texas. He built an oil business, and together they built a family. They would have 6 children. Their first daughter died of leukemia at age 3.
They had a profound effect on me and on Barbara. And I think that horrible incident drew us even closer together.
What a day you're...
In the early 60s, Bush pivoted to politics. He won 2 terms in the U.S. House, then served Presidents Nixon and Ford as UN ambassador, envoy to China, and director of the CIA. In 1980, he campaigned for the GOP presidential nomination, but instead became Ronald Reagan's vice president. 8 years later, he won his party's nomination.
I want a kinder and gentler nation.
Waging a successful presidential campaign against Democrat Michael Dukakis.
That I will faithfully execute.
The 41st president called for a new world order as the global scene shifted rapidly. The Berlin Wall fell, then the Soviet Union. In Panama, the president sent troops to overthrow the corrupt regime of Manuel Noriega.
The day of the dictator is over.
But a battle with another dictator had only just begun. When Saddam Hussein's Iraqi forces rolled into Kuwait, President Bush assembled a global coalition. Operation Desert Storm liberated Kuwait in 6 weeks. His popularity was sky high after the war, but it plunged as he ran for re-election against Bill Clinton and independent Ross Perot. The promise he made in his first campaign came back to haunt him.
Read my lips. No new taxes.
He did raise taxes, and amid an economic slowdown, he wound up losing in an electoral landslide.
I couldn't do what Ronald Reagan, my friend and predecessor, did so well, communicate effectively enough with the people, and that was my biggest shortcoming.
President Bush's legacies include a political dynasty. His son George served as governor of Texas, then president. Son Jeb was elected governor of Florida and was a presidential contender. But perhaps his life's greatest legacy is his marriage to Barbara. The Bushes were together for 73 years, longer than any other president and first lady in U.S. history.
Our family has had a front row seat for the most amazing love story.
At Barbara's funeral, Jeb Bush read a love letter his father wrote his mother on their wedding anniversary in 1994.
I've climbed perhaps the highest mountain in the world, but even that cannot hold a candle to being Barbara's husband.